Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Intentional Productivity Tips. I am your very favorite strategic productivity partner, Megan, and I am here today to talk about our Productivity Boost Core 4 Habits series. And today we are on our fourth Productivity Core 4 habit. So I'm really excited today to talk a little bit about your tools review and taking control of the productivity tools you use and watch. First, I would like to say thank you for watching me. I am, and as you can find me every week on our YouTube channel, USA Global TV and Radio. You can like, subscribe, and even be notified when there's a new episode. You also, if you have questions, want to learn just a little bit more about USA Global and Radio, you can check out our website at usaglobalandradio.com. USATVandradio.com. That's USATVandradio.com. So we are going to, as I mentioned, today we are finishing our Productivity Core 4 series. So I do have a presentation that I'm going to share with you right now. And then we are going to get started talking about our productivity tools. Let's turn this into a presentation and let's talk a little bit about our productivity tools review. So as I mentioned, this is our fourth habit in our Productivity Boost series. Let's just do a little bit of a rewind and see where it is that we have been. So we started week 1. We talked about creating your daily checklist process. Remember, the purpose of that is anything you need to touch, look at, send, review, any of those places or actions you need to look on a daily basis, any of your messaging, your emails. We want to have one place where you have all of that, and you know one time a day you are going to go through your daily productivity checklist and make sure you hit your highlights. Then 2 weeks ago, we talked about identifying your calendar and time management basics. So remember the importance of finding what are those time management tools that are useful for you? What are the calendaring habits that are going to make you take control of your time? Then last week, we went to the next habit we talked about connecting your goals to your to-do list in 4 steps. This brings us to our final productivity Core 4 habit, which is a productivity tools review. Today, we are going to talk about 3 things. We are going to talk about your personal preferences and assessing your current productivity toolkit. We're going to talk about a four-step productivity tools review that I'm going to walk you through. And then we're going to do a productivity quick tip as we do every week. And this week is focus now, next, after. So we'll talk about that in just a little while. But the first thing we want to talk about is eh, your productivity tool assessment. What does it mean and is it worth it? First of all, is it worth spending time on a productivity tools review? Yes, you are worth it. The reason is because a study published in the journal Psychological Science found that individuals who regularly review and optimize their productivity tools reported 30% increase in their personal efficiency and satisfaction in completing tasks. If we can take an action and it's going to make us 30% more efficient and it's going to give us satisfaction, isn't it worth doing? I'd say the yes answer is yes. We have some reasons we're going to look at just because while it's good to listen to me when I say that it's a good thing to do, let's talk specifically about some of the productivity tools, why it's important to do a productivity tools review. When you think about it, we're going to look, I've got 10 top reasons why here. It When you think about it, having productivity tools that meet your time, meet your needs right now are going to reduce your search time because if you're using tools that are optimal for you right now, you're going to be able to work less in a more seamless way and not having to ask yourself or look for things. It's about continuous improvement. When we have strong productivity tools to help us, it's also going to help us with our data security, which is pretty important these days. It's going to help how we communicate with people because, again, we have our tools and resources. We know where they are. We're not looking for things so we can be in communication and share with people. It helps us streamline our processes. We want to find what we need in the now when it comes to our productivity tools. So, when we think about it, what are some of the productivity tools? It could be something like budget and subscription tracking, so it can save us money. It could be how do we automate tasks? If we're able to, through the right productivity tools, find resources and tools that are going to help us automate part of our day, isn't that worth it? It's also going to enhance our organization. It's going to give us an opportunity for enhanced organization. So if we think about it, if we look at it, and if we're intentional about it, if we take time intentionally to look at the productivity tools and resources we're using, we're going to help ourselves to be able to be more productive and also just know what's going on in our life. And isn't that important too? The first thing I want us to do, as we always talk about, productivity is about our personal preferences. The tools that are best for someone else might not be the best for us. So, in this next activity, I want you to be selfish for just a moment. I want you to be selfish as we do an productivity tools review, and we're going to assess your current productivity toolkit. So, we're going to assess where you are. Now, this is meant to be a quick, we want you to think about it right now. We're wanting to get in your mind and just start to ponder, start to question, start to ask yourselves these questions. So the first thing we want to do is think about how are we going to make decisions about our productivity tools. The way that we're going to do it is we're going to look at it as we're going to think about the productivity tools we're currently using, and we're going to have them in one of three buckets: keep, toss, or make better. If we keep it, that means, hey, I've got the tool mastered. I've got exactly what I need and I can use it like a pro. If that's the case, I'm a master at this tool, we're going to keep it. If it's, I'm a little bit of a cool tool detective, I'm still hunting for something better and figuring out which tools don't just, what tools just don't make the cut. At that point, if I'm still on the hunt and I don't like this, I'm still searching for something else, toss it. Or if you're a tool tinkerer, right? And you're like, I want to tinker with this. I think there's a way to make better, right? So, what we want to do right now is we're going to talk about our productivity tools and we're going to talk about productivity options. The first thing I want you to do as we talk about it is I want you to just say, keep it, toss it, or make it better. And just keep this in your mind because we're going to come back to this a little bit later. So let's be honest with ourselves. Okay. So I'm going to ask you about some areas with your productivity tools. And when I mention it, say that the tools you have, you want to keep toss, or make better? We're not assessing it. We're not judging it right now. We're just saying the answer. Are your expense management tools helping you? Do you want to keep, toss, or make better? What about your task tracking tools? Keep, toss, make better. How are your email management tools? Keep, toss, make better. How is your password organization tools? Keep, toss, make better. It's important for us to think about all of the types of tools we have. How are your list management? How are your tools readiness? How are your graphics and how are your audio recording? How are all of the tools that you use? What we want to do with this activity is start to think about, again, what's the area and do I have the tool right now? Do I want to keep it, toss it, or make it better? It's important to do this, right? And for us to initially think about this pretty quickly, which is what we're doing, because we want to be able to say, hey, we want to start our thought process about it. We want to move to the process of being intentional. The best way to do that is with a quick assessment. Assessment reviews are not just about evaluating what we have, they are opportunities to refine our paths, enhance our tools, and unlock our true potential. And when we think about it, our productivity is what is a core area that we can work on and build habits that will help us to unlock our potential. This is why we want to be intentional with our productivity tools review. If you're going, so we've started to think a little bit about our assessment and our quick thoughts about our tools. It's important to be in that place and to think about it before we move into a 4-step process. So let's talk about a 4-step productivity tools process that you can use to be able to track the productivities you're using and are there resources you need. So there's going to be 4 steps in getting intentional with your assets. The second step is purposeful tool utilization and looking at how we are utilizing our tools. The third step, we need to make some decisions. We need to decide how we want to move forward with the tools we're currently using. And then the fourth step we'll talk about is gather what's next. So let's talk about step number 1. Let's make a list and check it twice. What I recommend when it comes to organizing and gathering tools in this first step, right? So we're making a list of all of the current tools we currently use. It can be everything from photo editing tools. It can be everything from, I have an Evernote file that I use. Anything that you use, you want to start to identify those current tools. Then I recommend that you I recommend that you organize them by categories. And we're going to talk about what those look like. Then once you have the categories and you have the tools listed, you've identified the tool to each of your productivity categories, then you want to document the process and you want to identify if there's anything additional that you want to update. So let's look at an example. So going through that might have, just looking at the list. Let's look at an output. So again, you probably are not surprised. I like to use spreadsheets. I find that Google spreadsheets help me organize a lot of my thoughts, help me organize with my clients, and they're easily shareable. So you'll notice I do this process in a Google spreadsheet. You could do it anywhere. But the first step, as we have here, is again, you want to list all of your tools and then the category. And what do I mean category? When we think about tools and we think about apps that we use, it could be in different categories such as expense tracking, calendar management, task tracking, right? We have document signing and management. We have social media. We have email management, communication platforms. When you think about your life, you have different areas in categories that you have for your tools. My recommendation is to not only identify the tool name, but also to identify the category. One of the reasons this is important is you might be able to identify, for example, here on my list, I have 3 different tools for task management. I have Kanban Flow, I have Asana, and I have Monday. At first glance, you might say, hey, whoa, that's too many. You need to get rid of one. But what we're looking at again is how we're using the tool. I use Kanban Flow personally, and that tracks my priorities. I use Asana with clients that I track with their projects. And I use Monday, and I'm an authorized dealer for Monday. And so each of those tools has a very different need in place in my productivity tools set, in my productivity tool bag. And so it's important again to look at, there might be a time when you have multiple tools, and that's okay as long as you know it. I can look at it and know it. And if anyone says anything to me, that's fine for them. They can continue to think what they want and they can work on their tools just like I'll work on mine. So we want to look at our current tools, we want to categorize them, and then we want to ask ourselves, is there anything else we need? Am I missing anything? And right now, I would say for myself, ooh, I do not have a document signing and management tool that I'm using right now. So that's a category that's something in a category I need. And so again, what I would do at this point is identify that. So our first step, we want to identify our tools and the categories of tools that we use. You can categorize them how it's best for you as long as you're intentional. The second step is to find purposeful tool utilization. So we want to begin to ask ourselves, and you'll see I just kind of did that when I was talking about my 3 task management systems. We want to be intentional to ponder the purpose for each tool. For each tool, we want to identify its function, document our purpose, and evaluate if the tool meets our needs. So what this can look like when we're pondering our tool's purpose is to say, but why are we using these? And so I've got some categories of questions here. As you'll see in the middle, I've definitely got my spreadsheet, and you'll see this process builds out in a spreadsheet. Part of why I do it in this way with clients is because now that we've identified the tools that we're using, I want you to start asking yourself some questions. Questions like, how did you originally plan on using this tool? How do you actually use this tool now? One thing I think it's important to ask is, what is a surprising thing you like about this tool? And what's a surprising thing you don't like about this tool? Start to ask yourself again, why are you using it? What's surprising about it? And then I always ask clients to say, do you give this tool a thumbs up or thumbs down? Don't think about it, just say, yep, thumbs up or thumbs down. As you go through each of your tools and you are pondering its purpose and outlining it, again, you don't necessarily have to put this in a spreadsheet if you don't want to. When I'm working with clients, I do just because it's a building process and they're able to see it. The important thing is that you do the effort of pondering the purpose of your tools and pondering that they are what you need. If your current tool is giving you a thumbs down, that means it's time to look for something different. So you want to so step number 2 is pondering the tools and pondering your tool's purpose. Step 3 is it's time to make some decisions. So you want to review each tool. Again, you've already assessed how they're doing. This is after you've completed that part. So as you're looking at it, as you're looking at each tool, you want to assess how effectively the tool meets your intended purpose. Evaluate your current usage. If you like it, be honest with yourself. As you're doing this, you're asking yourself, you're getting ready to say decisions. Do I want to use this tool or not? One of the reasons this is so important is because one fact is we spend about 2.5 hours per day searching for information. Who has time for that? We don't have 2.5 hours a day to waste looking for tools and resources. So it's important right now to be honest and to look at the decisions we're making. It's important for us to look at our resources and say, okay, we're going to make intentional decisions. So we're back at the spreadsheet. What we would do is we've got the tool name. Again, we've got the category. I hid some of the columns just for view, but again, you know your tool, you know your category. And at this point, you're going to say, am I going to keep it? Am I going to toss it? Or am I going to make it better? That's all you're going to answer for each of your tools. You're going to go through because this is helping you to make your decisions, to know what do I need to do with my tools. So step 3, you now know what you're going to do about your tools. You've made your decisions. So the next thing is gathering what's next. The next thing we want to do is we want to specify our next steps. We want to be honest with what actions we're willing to take, and we want to create a clear timeline. Then we want to outline our priority in 3s, and we're going to look at it right now. First, next, and after. So the next thing now, you'll see we have a completed spreadsheet that has our tools review. And if you go over to the far column, you'll see keep, toss, or make better, and then you've got a priority. You've got a place to be able to prioritize what order are you going to work on improving your tools. Now that you've assessed your tools, now it's time to put a little bit of action to it. And so, what I've done, the way I did this is the first tool, the first numbers, and the first actions I took were for the tools I want to toss. Because the reality is, most of them cost money. So, the sooner I get rid of them, I'm going to save some money, which is nice. So, the way I did it is I prioritized first, I did my toss actions, my make better actions, and then my keep actions. This is how I prioritized it. It's important for you to prioritize how it's the most important. But again, I hope with this process in looking and building out these thoughts and these actions, it's helping you to make a good decision then to be able to see what tools are supporting your habits, what tools do you need to improve, and how can you take control of your productivity with intentionality. Now that we've got the numbers and it prioritized, we said look at your next threes. So what's next? So what I recommend is when you've done something similar to a review like this, where you're looking at a lot of different options and you're going to have action steps, what I always say with what's next is to look at the threes. Look at the first three tools you're going to look at, the next three tools, and then the after three tools. So what you're going to do is you're going to identify the tool, your improvement actions, your next steps, and when you're going to do them. Again, this is a format. The format that I'm showing you is so that you're able to see the process. Create it for yourself. The most important thing is that we realize when it comes to productivity, we need to be supported and sustained by the tools, resources, apps, anything that we use to support us. It's important and it's going to make us better. Wise words from Peter Drucker. The best way to predict the future is to create it. Regularly reviewing your tools allows you to refine your approach and shape the outcomes you desire. So the whole reason we're looking at this productivity tools is so you can shape and take control of how you're getting things done and making sure that it works best for you. So our productivity core fourth tip is a productivity tools review. As we've looked at it today, my question for you would be to say, how do you want to move forward with this? What's the best way? The next thing we want to talk about, are you ready for a productivity quick tip for this week? I am, and I hope you are too. So let's talk a little bit about this week's productivity quick tip. It's called focus, now, next, after. And it's similar to what we just saw. Have you ever been in that moment when there's a lot of things going on? For me, a lot of times, like there's moments when I might be starting multiple projects, or it's kind of like I'm in the flow. A lot of times on Saturday mornings, I might have a lot of things going on. Like maybe I'm cleaning a little bit, maybe I'm working on a creative project, maybe I'm watching something on TV, maybe I want to take a walk. I just have a lot of things. There's times like that, right? When we just are being pulled in multiple directions. And so what is the best way when we're feeling overwhelmed to say, oh my gosh, what do I want to do now? What steps and actions can I take that will move me from overwhelm to getting stuff done? So I say, stop, breathe, think three. When things are overwhelming, stop, always take a breath. And then identify your think three. So this is going to look familiar, but this week's productivity quick tip is the idea of, how do I figure out what's next? Think three. Through your now three, your next three, and your after three. When overwhelmed, take time to be intentional and plan focused activities. When you've got a lot going on, when you have a project that there's multiple places and you're not sure where to start, or maybe even if you have a project block, there might be times in your day when you're like, where do I start? I always say, again, think threes. What do I need to do now? What do I need to do next? And what do I need to do after? Because that's going to give you places to focus to be able to move forward. So that's our productivity quick tip for this week. Focus, now, next, after. Think three. What's your next three? So that is our productivity quick tip and our productivity core habit for today. As always, it's most important for me that you learned at least one thing from today. And so, as we talked about assessing your current productivity toolkit, as we talked about the 4-step productivity tools review, or our productivity quick tip, focus on your now, next, after three. My hope is that you learned at least one thing today that you can take with your productivity to be intentional tomorrow or the next day and be able to work smarter, not harder. It is also an exciting time because we are finished with our productivity core 4 series. So, as I mentioned earlier, week 1, we talked about creating your daily checklist process. Week 2, we talked about your calendar and time management. Week 3, we talked about your goals. And week 4, we talked about your productivity tools review. Why are these your core 4 habits? What I've determined working with hundreds of clients over the last 10 years is if you have strong productivity habits in each of these core 4 areas, you're going to be working smarter. You're going to be able to be more productive. You're going to be able to enjoy getting things done. If you missed any of the previous habits episodes, please catch up on USA Global TV and Radio's YouTube channel. Please catch up on USA Global TV and Radio's YouTube channel. If you want to learn more information, you can always email me at Megan@indelible.global. You can email me at Megan@indelible.global. So I want to thank you for being here with me today. I truly hope that you're taking something away with the tools and resources that we have available to us to help us with our productivity. When you think back 10 years ago, when you think back 5 years ago, when you think back 20 years ago, these tools weren't available. We're pretty lucky they're available now, but they truly can overwhelm us. So we want to be able to be smart and intentional with how we use them. So this has been our episode on productivity tools review. I will see you every Wednesday at 5 p.m. on USA Global and Radio. Next week, I'm actually excited. We're going to talk about wander working, the ability and importance of being able to work wherever you are. So we'll talk about that next Wednesday at 5 p.m. on USA Global TV and Radio's YouTube channel. If you have questions, please feel free to email me. Again, as I said, my email address is megan@indelible.global. You can even go to my website. I want to thank you for being with me today. As I said, I hope you're taking an intentional productivity tip. I hope you're enjoying your productivity and improving your relationship with it. Thank you for being with us. And now a word from our sponsors.
Hello, everyone. Hello and welcome. My name is Roland Friedl, and maybe as you can recognize from my accent, I'm Austrian, so it's a small country in the middle of Europe, in the heart of Europe. And yeah, I'm 59 years old. I'm a father and a grandfather. And from my business background, after my very short but very successful corporate career, I was the youngest member of board of director in a huge business, in a huge company. I started my own businesses in different areas, in different industries, and I got a lot of experience, what is working, what is not working. And about 2.5 decades ago, I started a training, coaching, consulting company, Spartan Performance Systems, where I did and still do train and consult international huge businesses worldwide like Xerox and other big players in the world. So we do a lot of sales trainings and management trainings with my team in different languages. That's my main background in business. Besides that, I'm very engaged in men's work and also in the environment. That's my background, make it shortly. So to be honest, I'm very curious about what's going on in the world. I love to learn. I love to travel. So my huge passion is traveling. Right now, as you can see the background, I'm sitting in my motorhome. So after 14 years living on a beautiful island, I decided to move into my motorhome and travel to Europe and live and work from my motorhome. So, and I got engaged to USA Global TV and Radio actually a year and around 9-10 months ago. A very good friend of mine, he contacted me and asked me if he can invite me for an interview on USA Global TV and Radio. I guess the show was called The Journey of My Life. And to be honest, in the beginning, I said no, because I had very bad experience on interviews in my business careers. I did it twice for a TV channel in Austria. And then they cut it and edited it, and at the end, my comment was totally different than to the reality I said. So I said in the beginning, no, but I trusted this guy, so they said, okay, let's do it. He told me I don't have to fly to the US, I can do it from my home. That was, at the time, this was his island in Mallorca. So, and it was an amazing, and a beautiful conversation. And then Dr. Jacqueline contacted me and asked me if I'm interested in becoming a co-moderator of a show. And so we started the Mallorca Connection, which is a weekly show on Monday, the Mallorca Connection. I got more and more involved. I became an elevated listener because I strongly believe it's important to listen first before you talk. And I had the chance to host and moderate and design my own shows, like the Earth Show in the past, the Men shows. I became a talking head, an expert on business topics. So I hosted, moderated, I guess about more than 100, maybe 200, I don't know, idea, shows on USA Global TV and Radio, and I still do. And finally, we started the It's Your Healthy Lifestyle, a very good show, and we bring a new one on about the planet Earth. Yeah, that's a little bit what I'm doing here on USA Global TV and Radio. So why I'm doing this? First of all, I really love new medias. I love the platform. I love the work that this Dr. Jacqueline is doing to educate people. It's all about sharing, caring, and connecting and networking. And the benefit I got out of this in my personal experience, I learned a lot about myself, to be honest. I learned a lot about my strengths in moderating, in hosting, in talking live in front of a video camera. I learned a lot of myself, where are my strengths, where are my weak points that I have to improve. I met a lot of new interesting people. Some of them became friends of mine. Actually, after all, it's a hell of work, to be sure. Yes, it is, to be prepared, to invite people for the shows, to find new topics, to do research on the facts. But I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about the industry, the media industry. I learned a lot about broadcasting, videos, interviewing. And as I said, I met a lot of interesting people, and also made new friends where I'm very happy for that. So yeah, USA Global TV and Radio, it's the platform to connect. It's about sharing and caring. And for me, USA Global TV and Radio is a huge family, and I'm very thankful and grateful for this experience. And I guess the best is yet to come. Thanks a lot from Roland from Austria. Thank you. Bye.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents our partner and sponsor, Mr. Philip Sykes and the British School of Excellence. Building confidence, changing lives. And now, proudly presenting the Polished Professional.
On a transformative journey with the British School of Excellence's comprehensive suite of masterclasses, crafted to elevate your professional and personal life. 8 outstanding modules will elevate you to the next level. Module 1, Exploring Life's Purpose, delves into the depths of self-discovery, guiding you to chart your unique path to fulfillment and success. Module 2, Mastering Professional Presence and Confidence. This masterclass is a deep dive into the art of self-assurance and commanding presence, which is essential for standing out in today's competitive landscape. Module 3, Learn the Secrets of Visual Impact, how to curate a personal style that amplifies your professional brand. Module 4, Mastering Professional Etiquette and Communication Excellence, navigating the nuances of corporate interaction with grace and tact. Module 5, Elegance in Eloquence. We impart powerful techniques to captivate and persuade any audience with your oratory skills. Module 6, Unlock the potential of your emotional intelligence, EQ, and harness the ability to connect, empathize, and lead with emotional savvy. Module 7, Mastering DISC, building a gateway to understanding behavioral styles, fostering better personal and professional relationships. Module 8, Mastery in Dining Etiquette, building your confidence to perfect the subtleties of dining with finesse, enhancing your social savviness at any table. Step into the Polished Professional program, where poise, elegance, and excellence aren't just taught, they're instilled for life. Join us to redefine your potential and polish your professional edge.
To learn more, go to the British School of Excellence.com. The British School of Excellence are investors in people. Let us invest in you.
We face daily cyber risks, spending over 7 hours of screen time, including 4.5 hours on mobile phones. This convenience comes with significant dangers, with cybercrime costs predicted to exceed $10.5 trillion by 2025. In 2023 alone, seniors lost over $3.4 billion to cybercrime. Our goal is to make social engineering concepts of cybersecurity easier to understand. We work with business teams, senior living facilities, investment companies, and educational institutions, both individually and in groups. We offer real-life examples to help you recognize and prevent attacks, with sessions available both in person, in selected regions, and remotely. Schedule your training session, or to learn more, contact us today. Call us at 847-845-9360. Email us at info@cybersecurityeasy.com. Protect your team and family with cybersecurityeasy.com.
My name is Dr. Felix Kravitz, and I am the founder of cybersecurityeasy.com, LLC. We live in a world full of vulnerabilities and cyber risks. We spend almost 4.5 hours a day on our mobile phones. It's over 7 hours of screen time daily when including computer use. We often forget that this convenience comes with risks. Published data predicts that the cost of cybercrime will exceed $10.5 trillion in 2025. These numbers encompass not only businesses, but also each one of us, including our children and our parents. In 2023, the FBI reported over $3.4 billion lost by seniors aged 60 and older. Cybersecurityeasy.com LLC's initiative is to massively support the community by providing cyber safety coaching and improving social engineering awareness. Our goal is to make social engineering concepts of cybersecurity easier to understand. We work with business teams, seniors, and educational institutions, both individually and in groups. We cover various topics, from phone phishing attacks to AI-generated voice cloning, robocalls, password protection, and more, using life examples. Talk to us today. Call us at 847-845-9360 or email us at info@cybersecurityeasy.com.